HR issues can kill you. One complaint against your company can turn your world upside down. And you spend way too much time dealing with HR when you should be spending your time on making a profit. You should talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated US-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They get to know you and your business while providing HR expertise and the personal touch you need and want. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly. Team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Go to Bambi.com right now and type in Accelerate under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Spelled BAM, BEE.com. Bambi.com. Type in Accelerate.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to Accelerate Your Business Growth with your host, Diane Helbig. Diane is a leading small business development and leadership coach, author, and speaker who is passionate about sharing valuable ideas, tips, and techniques with business professionals worldwide. Diane brings you the world's experts and gurus in all things business, whether it's sales, structure, social media, planning, or plateauing. Guests bring their expertise and energy to each episode. When growing your business is your focus, Accelerate Your Business Growth is the show to listen to. Got a topic or guest suggestion? Let Diane know. The goal is to make sure you have the information you need to move your business forward. Thanks for joining us. Settle in and enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's podcast is sponsored by Audible.com. Audible.com is a leading provider of spoken audio entertainment and information. Listen to audiobooks whenever and wherever you want. Check it out at audibletrial.com/businessgrowth. Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast continues to gain recognition as a great resource for marketers, small business owners, sales professionals, business leaders of all sorts. And that is really because of the guests. These are folks who have expertise in particular areas of business, and they join me to have a conversation where they share that expertise with all of you. That way, the goal is that you get the information you need, you get some ideas and concepts that you can implement in your business, but you also get to hear from people who you can tell that they really know what they're talking about, so you can reach out to them, offline, so to speak, and get, potentially some more direct assistance if you need it. Today is no exception. My guest today is Matt Barnett. Matt is a serial entrepreneur based out of Sydney, Australia, with a passion around changing conventional business communications through the power of personalized video messaging. His business, Bonjoro, is focused around helping businesses use personal video to convert more clients, create more customer evangelism, and get more brand ambassadors. Thanks so much for joining me today, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Diane.
I am thrilled to have you. I'm so curious about this, this personalized video thing, because video really feels like it's coming into its own. And I want to start there. And I was wondering if you would talk some about why you think video is poised to really explode in 2020.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of timing, and I think partly driven by consumers as well. I think technology has reached the point where everyone has access to video in many capacities, so it's easy to create great content, with smaller budgets, with home cameras, with mobile cameras. It's easy to hop online and use Zoom and talk to any client anywhere around the world.
Yeah.
In seconds. This has become kind of second nature. Obviously, on the consumer side, we've all been using Skype, for many, many years before Zoom.
Yeah.
The Zoom thing came along. So we've actually been in practice now for probably five years, at the minimum for most of us. Those of us that live in countries like Australia, where we deal with business overseas, it's absolutely crucial to how we work every single day. I don't think there's a day that goes by that we're not on video with clients around the world, with team members around the world. And video has this ability to kind of, I guess, pull down the walls of a brand and kind of expose the team members behind that, the humans behind those companies. And I think it's not just video. I think there is a shift in marketing towards personalization. I think there's a genuine change where consumers and businesses that we work with are kind of harking almost back to the old days of wanting to see who it is they're working with, who are the people, can they trust them, and we've kind of gone through this huge spike where everyone jumped online and kind of the world got itself in a hurry and it was all great and it was all fun. And then suddenly we remember that we miss these things called relationships. We used to go into the local store, or work with our accountant, and you'd see people and you'd build relationships offline over coffee and stuff. And now, obviously, in pursuit of scale and as our reach has got bigger, we've gone, there's something missing here. And I think video starts to bring it back because it's like me and you at the beginning of this call, just hopped and said hello on video. So you see who it is you're talking to, you get who they are, you work out if you're going to trust them, and you shortcut the relationship and you make a decision much quicker, given the fact there's so much choice in the market these days of who you can work with, whether this is the kind of team that you think is going to be the ones for you.
I really like that. I feel like this whole week I've been having the conversations I've been having in meetings and groups and things have all been around this idea of coming back to connecting with people, coming back to human interactions. So, it's interesting that's a role video can play. I think when people think of video, they think of, like webinars or seminars, online courses, that kind of thing, but not necessarily just connecting with people.
No, I think even webinars do this. Yeah. So again, and these have been going on for a while. We find ourselves in more of them. The fact that webinars are hosted by members of the team, we run them, and we'll run them with our CS team or our marketing team. It's not actually me that ever does them, and so different members of my team will get up. So for those in our business, customers will see different touch points of my business and go, oh, well, that's Grant. He's the guy that I'm often talking to online. Oh, there's Ollie, who I'm often talking to in marketing. There's Casey. And so again, even though they're obviously getting information, they're talking there, it's us exposing ourselves and saying, here we are, this is what we do, but ask us anything in kind of open forum. And if you want to connect with us afterwards, and you do connect with us, again, you feel that you know who we are. It's not like you're connecting with, the Ernst & Young brand, which is this kind of hidden wall of who's behind it, I guess. It's all very transparent still.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So if somebody's listening and they're thinking, okay, well, this makes tons of sense, but how do I go about making my brand more personal? What are some actionable steps you think they should be taking?
Yeah. So I think this comes down a little bit. I do have a certain point of view here, so take this with my own biases. But like, I do think team culture and brand, like team culture, kind of moving more into brand. So I think if you have a team you're proud of, and you could be a small company of one person to a huge company. I think getting your team to the front line as much as possible, where customer interactions are happening, is really important, and let them be themselves, and let them, be open with who they are, with their personal opinions on things. And that's happening. And so this can happen in a number of ways. Obviously, things like communities. So if we're on communities, we run a community, but the entire team will jump in and chat to customers. And so what I mean here is, it's not just my CS manager that does this. My CTO will hop in and have a chat with people on like ideas about new product or technical issues. My other dev team will hop in. Like, different people will get in there, and we let them do that. We allow them all to take part, and we encourage it to the extent that with us, we actually make every member of the team. Actually, a better example is Zapier do this. So Zapier, who I'm sure most people are aware of, every single member of the team has to spend 1 week doing customer service every single year. And
Really?
I know this isn't sales or marketing. However, it's extremely powerful because it means that their CEO, and they're quite a big thing now, will be on the front line for a week a year at the very minimum. And so when you're doing customer support, you'll get back and you'll be like, I recognize this guy. And it just pushes forward this feeling of like, these are the real guys, these are transparent. It obviously helps the company because they get a lot of feedback from the front line across the entire company. Other ways, one area I think every company kind of dismisses a little bit is the About Us page on the websites. And this sounds like a small thing, but this is an amazing opportunity to get it across your kind of values, your brand, your team, your culture. And if you're in a competitive market, which many of us are, going back to the personalization thing, the companies that do this and do it well, and again, have the transparency, have the trust, are the ones that can actually win. It's no longer just about the service offering, because it's such a competitive marketplace. If you can win on kind of transparency, trust, especially with I think a heightened fear of what is and what isn't online, that's extremely powerful as well. And then, my ultimate bias is to use video as part of your customer funnel. And so, yes, use HD video, use pre-recorded videos for demonstrations, for webinars, but rather than going and getting, always going and getting a professional editor to come in and do everything, I think if you can use more raw content, so don't edit it, just get your team on, get them doing videos about how stuff works, about how things happen, about advice. It's it's back to transparency. If it's unedited, people are like, oh, this is real. And the way we take it to the next level is that we say, well, there's points on a customer journey when it pays to send individual personalized messages to specific customers. So a new lead comes in, John from Ogilvy comes into your funnel, and one of your team hops on their mobile phone and says, and sends a video to John and says, hey, John, this is Matt here. I'm based out of the Sydney office. Saw you sign up from Ogilvy. Already worked with Ogilvy in Japan and Korea. I've worked with X, Y, and Z over there. We work on these brands. Would love to have a little chat to you about how it all works. And here's the office in Sydney. And so if you actually record a video for John and for no one else, he gets that and he's like, it's partly the view and the transparency. More than anything else, it's the fact that he knows that you've stopped for a minute in your day and you've taken the time to connect with him. And, deep fake aside, video is hard to fake. Emails, even if you send personalized email, even if you send people one-to-one emails, sometimes they're going to think it's automated. I mean, that's where it's got to. At least with the video thing, people are like, okay, this is legit. He said too many things here for this to not be real.
Right.
You know? So I owe him to get back to him and invest some time. Again, like I think there are those points which is, video is a wonderful enabler to show that you as a company are more transparent, more trustworthy, and willing to go above and beyond your competitors for your potential clients.
That's so interesting. I get it. I really do. I think it's so, I think there's a couple things about it. One, it's very connective. And two, people really aren't doing it. So it really is just, a way that doesn't take a lot of money or effort to stand out, to differentiate yourself from your competition.
I think that's the key here. I think the companies and the individuals that I see doing extremely well today, and especially it's just a lot. You see, I think you see it probably most visibly in a lot of personal brands, people who are growing their personal brands really well.
Mm-hmm.
They are not people who look for tons of shortcuts. They tend to do a few things very consistently and very well. And one of the things they will always do, from Gary Vee to Pat Flynn to whoever else, is you'll see them personally get into Twitter and reply to people, personally send videos to people when they're walking down the street. Like they go above and beyond to make sure they have these personal connections at key points on a customer journey. Maybe they can't do it for all customers, or maybe they only do it at certain points when they know there's it's worth their time. But they do this, and they do it consistently, and they've done it consistently for years. And other people looking for shortcuts and hacks tend to try and skip this and try and find things that don't involve the human side. I think if you leave the relationships out, you're only ever going to get so far.
Yeah, I do too. And I think people are really craving it. I just think we really want to get back to that conversation.
Well, look, you can't fight a million years of evolution.
Yeah.
I think embrace this. We are social creatures.
Yeah.
We don't communicate just in voice. For all the listeners know, I'm 7 foot tall, blonde hair and full of muscles, but I'm definitely not that person.
I've seen you.
Yeah, I am the opposite of that. But there's so much communication that comes through in the eyes, in the facial expressions, in the way you move your arms and your hands and smile. This is how we communicate. Look, you see, watch any sci-fi movie for the last 50 years. If you're a Star Trek fan, hop on Star Trek, and when people call other people, they don't do it on the phone. They all hop on video chat. It's like they knew, like it's a thing because it's much more normal. So it's a thing now. It's here. Embrace it. It's not going away.
Well, I'm so with you now. Okay, so if there's people listening and they're uncomfortable with the idea of being on video, which I hear a ton from people, it feels to me like they have to get over themselves. That it's like public speaking, that people really aren't paying that much attention to what you're wearing and all of that. So, what do you say to people who say, I don't want to be in front of a camera?
So having done public speaking and Toastmasters and all that, I would say the video is a lot easier. so standing up in a room full of strangers is more nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time when you do video, it is. If you don't get warmed up, if you're not using Zoom yet to do meetings, start to use it. It's incredibly efficient to be able to do video from your office and not have to. You can't always make the coffee, and the coffees are great. But honestly, a Zoom call, there's no travel time. It's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Can be much better for some meetings. Get on it. Now, when you're doing that, it's you and them, one-on-one. It is not standing up in front of a group. It is no different to having a conversation with somebody in a coffee shop. Most of us, I would like to think at this stage in business, are comfortable with that. Doing video is exactly that. It's no different. We have this false assumption like you said, that people care and that suddenly on video we become this other thing. The reality is we just don't.
Yeah.
You know, we again we run a business where we've seen millions of people, like people send millions of personalized videos to individuals, and if you look at the data and the stuff that really gets the best reactions and tends to get the best engagement, it's actually when people use their mobile phone to send video messages, and it's when they do this outside the office. So they're dropping messages to clients and to leads, often in industries like finance, etc. They're doing it on a coffee break, or they're doing it on the commute to work, or they're doing it in their kitchen, which sounds crazy, but all they're doing is just, you know, being themselves. And once you've done this a few times, and yes, I get the nerves, but once you do it a few times and people start to respond to you and they go, oh, hey, Jane, this is great. Awesome. You know, oh, I've got a 4-year-old as well, et cetera, et cetera. And you start to connect, you realize people aren't looking into the videos too deeply. You know, it's just like having a chat with somebody who you know quite well. It shortcuts that thing, and you get over it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The benefits, again, if you're in business, I'd almost say it's easier, because the benefits you'll get, you'll very quickly go, oh, this actually really works. I'll keep doing it. You know, so I think if you try it a little bit, you'll get over that very, very, very quickly. We see it all the time. We see people who are afraid. They send a couple and then they turn around and go, I don't know what I was so worried about. It's like any new adoption.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to do it, right? You just gotta give it a shot.
It's no different to having a coffee. It's the same
Right.
thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way of putting it. It's really true. And we do that all the time without giving it a second thought. So I want to throw some statistics around, because some people that can be a game changer for them. So I think there's value in it. And the Harvard Business Review did a study that they did with insurance activations. So they had a control group where the control group didn't receive any digital contact, and apparently 1.3% of people activated their accounts. Then they used email, just text email, and the number rose to 4.3, which I think is pretty high. Then they had a group that they sent personalized videos to, and the activation rate doubled that of just regular email to 8.2 people signing into their retirement accounts. So I am imagining that you see the same sorts of results when you compare just regular text emails to video emails. Is that fair?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Ms. talks that. So we look into kind of our numbers and our user base, and it's very diverse, but we generally see, as a rule, so in terms of responses and engagement, about 3 times as many personalized videos as people do to email.
Wow.
So that obviously is part of activation. Our kind of open rates are on average around 65 to 70%.
Wow.
Which is high.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, bear in mind, you're not clicking a button and sending out 10,000. These are per. So there is a time cost with this, and so, you know, when you do this and when you try it, yeah, the thing to remember here is that it's, you know, as much as I hate the term, but, you know, ROI. So if it's going to take you 30 seconds or a minute to do this, you know, and the systems like ours where, you know, you take out all the process. So literally all you do is record the video, press send, get back to work. And you can build funnels, you know, as to when you're sending these. So I'll mention just about when the right times are. But, you know, when you're doing these personalized videos, think about the ROI. Yeah, if a lead is potentially worth $5,000, then, you know, I would argue that every lead is worth a minute of your time. For some companies, if your lead is worth $500, it's worth a minute of your time. You know, like if you don't have any customers yet, I would suggest that any lead is worth a minute of your time.
I agree.
You know, so think about it in that way. if I'm going to explain where the three areas of the customer funnel, I think this is most effective, and this will be different for different businesses. The first one is leads. So a new lead is coming in, a new inquiry. A lot of us are past the days of being hounded on phone calls the second we sign up for something.
Yeah.
Dropping in a personalized message, within the hour. It's not as in your face. It allows the customer to kind of watch it on their own time, but they obviously got high intent then. And if you pop in and say, "Hey, I'm Tim, I'm the guy," extremely effective at getting leads to come back, book a demo, book a call, take the next step. Probably the easiest place to start. The second place, which is exactly what you just talked about, which is what I call activation. So activation means different things for different companies, but let's say you're doing online courses. Activation means actually getting on and reading that course over the first week, taking it all in, and then going and buying the next course. If you run a technology company, activation means logging back in again and setting up your account. If you're a consultancy, activation is taking that first project forward. So at this point, it's, as you mentioned in the insurance example, you're getting in touch and saying, "Hey, look, I saw you got to this step. You haven't gone forward. Would you like some help? Or let's have a call," etc., etc. And then it's very simple. The law of reciprocation kicks in, and someone goes, "Oh wow, Diane just reached out to me. I'll get back on board." The third area, and this one's a little bit harder, I think, to measure straight off the bat, but it's around advocacy. And so this comes in two ways. I think if you start your funnel and you involve personalized video at the top of the funnel, so potentially for leads or the first conversion stage or activation, people connect with you. And we talk about the idea of first impressions. The first impression is, this is a company who's going to take time for me. Now, when you follow this down to advocacy, obviously that first impression and the way that people work with you is highly important. It'll drive NPS forward. The way you can then use video to make sure this happens is post a project or post a sale or post purchasing online, following up with people, checking that everything they've done was great, checking they were happy with the project, and then quite simply asking them to leave you a review or submit a case study or a testimonial or refer a friend. You either directly ask that, or just by, again, using the idea of personalization in all its formats, regardless, you're going to create more advocates, because, again, people will engage with you and they'll start to tell more people, and you'll see that your word of mouth referrals will go up anyway. So I think personalization across the marketing funnel in all its forms does drive this ahead. And it's probably the most powerful usage of this, because, as we all know, direct traffic is by far the best in terms of conversion,
Right.
and leads, hands down.
Right. Wow. This is fascinating to me. Now, I'm going to take a quick sponsor break, and then I have some more questions about all of this. Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast is happy to be sponsored by Audible.com. Audible.com is a leading provider of spoken digital audio entertainment and information. They have thousands of titles to choose from, as well as podcasts, Audible originals, guided meditations, and so much more. One of my favorite audiobooks is Everyone Deserves a Great Manager by Scott Miller. He's been on the podcast, so I have read his book. I'm not really sure how you say that, but I love being able to listen to it anywhere, across devices. I think you will too if you haven't tried it out yet. So visit audibletrial.com/businessgrowth and just explore, look at the variety of audiobooks and look at some of the programming, because, you may not want to listen to a book, but there may be a program there that would be of value for you. Today, we are speaking with Matt Barnett about the value of using video to connect with prospects and clients. And Matt, as you were talking about all of that, a thought came into my mind about, are people leery of opening a video that's sent in an email.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, so I mentioned earlier that on average we see 70% open rates. I wish it were 100. so not everyone, but I mean, but this is with any funnel. I think this comes down to using this at the right time. So one area I do not see great success is outbound sales. So I think
that's interesting.
now it's not to say it can't be done. And one of the areas I have seen it work is around non-profits, because I think there's quite a good association with them anyway. I think there is some prior knowledge of who they are. So I think it does help there. However, I would suggest, at least to start with, don't use it in outbound sales, because if you get a video unsolicited, especially if it's off a call center sales guy with his little headphones on, could be kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mentioned, the areas to use this to start like leads, conversion, and activation. If it's leads and you're getting back within, half an hour, then I would suggest that it's not unsolicited, of course. So that user is interested. Within those first few hours, that their intent is high and they're interested. It is received much better than a cold phone call. Especially like I will add in countries outside of the US where, like my experience is kind of Europe and Australia. The culture here has really taken a turn away from picking up cold phone calls.
Yeah.
People have just stopped picking up the phone now.
Well, because 90% of it is nonsense.
Exactly. And it's like, a part of this is with your company and your brand, and how, like, being a good actor, as we call it, so doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But I think receiving a video in that stage is passive. It is, again, they expect some comms at that point, so it's okay. Once you get into activation and driving advocacy, they know you, they know the company, they know the brand. So at that point, it's good, and it's putting your face across. I've not really seen people react badly to a message. The open rates are the part of it. Some companies in some areas and some use cases will get much lower open rates than others. We have clients who get 100%, and we have clients who will get lower. So it depends a little bit on your funnel. But I don't think cold. And again, I mentioned earlier, like ROI. The best thing here to do is to test. Maybe sending videos to cold Facebook ad signups is not the right use of your time, because they're a low engaged audience potentially. But then maybe send them to anyone who's downloaded the white paper or listened to your podcast is much better, because they're already high intent. So I think have a little play around. I don't think people will be weirded out by it. That's not a thing that really happens. They will appreciate it. You just got to make sure that you hit them at the right time, that it's worth your time to do this.
And are there certain industries that are more where this makes more sense, or it's being more commonly used?
We tend to find so we've actually struggled with this. We're like, okay, who is the ideal user of this? What we've come down to is that honestly, it's kind of two things that drive it. Yeah, I think one is funnel stage. So again, leads, activation, conversion, which suits a lot of industries. I'd say it comes down to whether you're a business where the relationship is extremely important to you. That is where this will do well. And conversely, are you in a business where none of your competitors are pushing the relationship thing? So I'd actually argue that's a great place to use it as well. And so I'm not mentioning specific industries, because we see people use this in e-commerce, in consulting, in finance, in technology companies, like you name it, like churches, non-for-profits, you name it, people will use it. I almost think the decider is, do they have challenges at these funnel points where they want to increase engagement, full stop, and do they have the culture and the team who is willing to give something like this a go? And I can tell you, just like Twitter, not every company is willing to try this, and not every company will be good at it. So if you are one of the ones who is good, and to be good, all you have to be is genuine, that's where I think it'll work for you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I'm with you on that. It is interesting. I think it feels to me like anybody can do it. It's sort of like letting go of all of those preconceived ideas and just diving in and doing it, and then paying attention to it and seeing, is it working? Where is it working? Where isn't it? What's really happening with it, which is like any sort of marketing.
Absolutely. I think approach this with your marketing mindset that anything you're trying new, you should be testing, measuring, and then testing again. So I take some examples, look at how other people in your industry and your area have used it as a great starting point for sure. But then try it in your own way. And if this doesn't work, try this. And if this doesn't work, try this. Try a few things, test quickly. Again, A/B test, as you would do anything you're doing in marketing. You'll learn where it works best. You'll learn if it is best, and you'll learn how to improve and to maximize your results. Even though it's video and even though you're putting time in, it's one of these things where you're doing the numbers, so you can actually trial and test and compare quite easily.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be that much time.
No.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Now, did we talk about using it post-sale? Is there an opportunity to further develop the customer relationship?
Yeah. So this is this advocacy part, I think.
Okay.
Like, I think this is harder for a lot of. So I see it's a lot harder for a lot of companies, especially young companies, to kind of get their head around. And it's this idea. I mean, we all, like, if you don't know the stats, it's 7 times more cost effective to get another $1 off an existing customer than it is to go and find $1 off a new customer.
Yeah.
I've seen that stat anywhere from 5 to 20 times. And I think a lot of companies do a disservice to existing clients, and I think growing that community, if you like, because again, it's not the new shiny thing. Yeah, and we're all guilty of this. I think putting time in to existing customer base, and so whether it's celebrating milestones, so they've been with you a year, or they've done a third project, or something's happened in their life that's important. It could be their birthday, they could have had their first kid. I think celebrating along with them is a key part of the customer journey. Video can be great for doing this kind of thing. So, like, as a good example, we have quite a lot of mortgage brokers, and there's one company that jumps to mind. They are 100% suit and ties, not the kind of people you would think initially would use a video. And where they use it for leads, that's where they started. Where they get the most success is not, so people get approved for mortgage, they go through, when their clients buy a house, they drop a video in, I think maybe like a day later, congratulating them, and they pick the camera up and they spin it around the whole office, and every single person in this 100-person office stands up and cheers.
Wow.
Which so it takes a couple of seconds, and everyone's laughing, and it sounds crazy, but what happens in this case is the client then associates all the good, like a lot of the goodwill of purchasing that house and getting their first dream home with this mortgage company.
Yeah.
And this mortgage company has other divisions. So it also has wealth management, it also has accounting, and it has all the other parts of the company that they then start to talk to. And so then they, that client who started in the mortgage business will start to go on to the other departments of the finance company and become a client across the whole business. And so, all their growth, and the reason they're so successful is because they're incredibly good at engaging with clients that come in from different channels, and then cross-selling them onto other parts of the business. But they do it by delivering like excellence of customer experience, and then saying, hey, while you're here, you should have a chat to, Liam in X division.
That is really incredible. It's so amazing to me. I mean, when you were telling the story, I was like getting chills because I could feel what that must have been like to get that congratulatory video. And it's so personal. And buying a house is personal. It's a big deal. And so to have someone else appreciate it that much and take the time, I can absolutely see how that works. But it's got to be genuine, right? I mean, like, you can't fake that kind of thing.
I think the best thing you can do in terms of post-sale existing clients is to really, I think, have empathy with your customers and understand, really, think what's important to them in life. Can we help them with this? Can we be there at those moments? And the best brands in the world do this. The best brands associate themselves with great moments in our life, and this is not just the Red Bulls, where we love the F1 and everything else. The best accounting companies are there, to help you through thick and thin. The best lawyers, look like we have a lawyer, and I love them because everyone's like, oh, lawyers are bad, and I'm like I love my lawyer because they're great people and they help us in times of trouble. Right. And then they're there afterwards, and they're like, want to make sure you guys are fine. Like how was it? Let's have a chat and make sure the next time we're better prepared for this. And they really take care in the post billing stage. So I think have empathy. I think put your creative hats on as well, I would suggest. There are tried and tested methods of using things like this, but I think every business is unique, and if you can tie something that's a little bit more unique to your customer journey and to your brand especially, think of what that is, and test out a few things and do something that's unique. I mean, this mortgage company, I've told the story before, and I can bet you not many mortgage companies have gone and done this.
Yeah.
Which
it's a good point.
Because it takes bravery,
Yes.
And these guys, they have the culture. So when you meet them, you just go, I get it. Like, they have the culture that supports this kind of behavior, and I can tell you that culture is why they're successful.
Right. This is so great, and I'm really glad that we talked about post-sale, because I agree with you. I think we really do ourselves a disservice and our clients a disservice by selling to them and then moving on, because they want to continue to feel valued, and there is more business potentially either there or through referrals, and us helping them with other things. We have to be more committed to the relationship. So that this is a great way of doing that kind of thing, and really bringing it back to that human level, that personal sort of thing. So yeah, boy, really incredible. Talk to me some about the scalability of this, because it's so personal. It's not like email marketing where you can send 500, 10,000 people the same thing, but they feel like they're the only ones getting it.
Yeah. So I think there's probably a couple of points here. And one I mentioned earlier, I think, is around ROI. So I think, and this is the whole. This is the whole funnel. Yeah, this is whether you decide to do outbound sales or whether you decide to do coffee meetings, which is a big time investment. Do these things at the point in the funnel where the impact and the rewards are going to pay for themselves in your time. Look, we have an ethos that my company lives by. We build products this way, but we also take it very much to heart in the culture, which is automate processes but never relationships. And what we mean by that is you look at the idea of scale and and automation. The way that we see it plays a part when it's most valuable to us is it does the things that me personally I shouldn't be spending my time on, that I don't need to do. Yeah. So that my time can go into customer facing pieces of work. And of course, this could be building new products, new offerings, but also talking to customers on a daily basis, because that is where we have found that success lives. As the example, like with us and the fact that we have this focus, I think our NPS is around 70, which is pretty high.
Yeah, no kidding.
For an online company. But it's because we have this thing where I'm like, everyone, like the customer, it's not the customer's always right. The customer is the most important person, the most important stakeholder in the company. So again, but have a think, plot out your map. With us, we kind of go above and beyond because this is what we're trying to push. We are an extreme example. But go back to the mortgage company. There are points on our journey like this one, and the reason they do it is because they then walk the client into other areas, and because they know that client's going to go and tell all their friends that this is the mortgage company. So the return on investment there is huge, and for that 1 minute, for the entire company to stop their work and cheer, it's great. And obviously, there's a side effects that everyone in the office laughs afterwards. It also shows the office essentially like another sales being made for the company, so it's really good for culture. There's other things that come of this.
Yeah.
I think the other point I would make is that, so going back to the idea of personalization, not just video, but other areas of using this. Look, there's different commitments of time for different levels of personalization. Sending a video is a lot lower commitment than having a coffee, but at some point you've got to have a coffee, which is a lot lower than getting on a plane and going and seeing your biggest client, which at some point you're going to have to do. But at the other end of the spectrum, talk about the whole transparency thing. You can record a video on your phone walking to get your lunch and be like, hey clients, it's Tuesday morning here in Ontario. I saw something this morning that I thought was really interesting about doing XYZ. I just thought you'd like to read this, and then, potentially share a link to an article. That's kind of video you could send that to, a curated group of people, maybe 100 people. It's not for John and for Jamie and for Jackie directly. However, it's a piece of relevant content that is being sent to a relevant group that is very scalable. You're also very transparent while you're doing that. And it's like, oh, here, I just want to help you. So, personalization, you can scale it up a bit, and I would get you to think about, just generally as a business, the idea of curated groups, customers who are interested in X, versus customers who are interested in Y, customers different sizes, different locations. If you have a community and if you're building a community, this is a great place to put things like this. But think a little bit about curation. Think about, smaller groups rather than one big email list. Absolutely. And then, look at each stage and say, what's worth my time doing in different areas of the business to get the best return for us.
Yeah, right. That's great advice. That's really great. I really have enjoyed this conversation, Matt. It's sort of lighting a fire under me to start doing some more, just, off the cuff. I think about it. I'll tell you, honestly, I think about it and then I just don't do it. And then it turns into an article because I just don't get around to doing it. So, but like I said, lighting a little fire. I think I'm probably going to try to do more of this. So will you tell the listeners about Bonjoro and how they can find you?
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to test out personalized video, go check out bonjoro.com. You can try that free. If you do sign up and want to give it a go, you will get a welcome video from one of my team. I can't say
I would
who
hope
it'll
so.
be. I will probably get off this call and do a few early this morning. I like to do some every day. If you ever do reply to one of those messages, the person that sent it to you is the person that you will be replying to their personal inbox. So if you want to have a chat to one of us, do that. Try it out. See how it feels when you get one. And then, we'll help you get going. But, use a trial. Like, again, I don't think anyone should jump into anything and just buy. Try it out, test it out with some of your customers. Super easy. Send out 10 and just see if you get an indication that this might work at a certain point in your funnel for you. And if you're nervous, again, you'll get one of us first. I wouldn't say we were all built for video, but we've got over it. So if we could do it, I would suggest any of you can.
Yeah, right. That's good too. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for having this conversation with me and sharing this stuff. I think this is really great and just so exciting for 2020. I think. I just think getting back to the personal is really where it's at. So listeners, give it a shot, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Those of you who are thinking, I don't know, just go ahead and do this thing. And I would also like to thank our sponsor, audible.com, to get a free trial of audible.com and explore all of the audiobooks and programs available to you. Go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth to sign up. As always, continue to prosper and be curious and try new things. And until we meet again on another episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, goodbye and good day.
Full send with the driver? Check. Piercing iron through the wind? Check. Low checker, high spinner, flop to a tight pin? Check, check, and check. No matter what shot you need to pull off, there's one ball that's better for them all. The all-new TP5 and 5X from TaylorMade. With a newly redesigned dimple pattern, engineered for more distance, more control around the green, and better stability in the wind, it's the hottest tour ball in golf. So no matter what shot you face, there's one ball that's better for all. The TP5 and 5X from TaylorMade. Full send with the driver? Check. Piercing iron through the wind? Check. Low checker, high spinner, flop to a tight pin? Check, check, and check. No matter what shot you need to pull off, there's one ball that's better for them all. The all-new TP5 and 5X from TaylorMade. With a newly redesigned dimple pattern, engineered for more distance, more control around the green, and better stability in the wind, it's the hottest tour ball in golf. So no matter what shot you face, there's one ball that's better for all. The TP5 and 5X from TaylorMade.
Are you tired of the same old productivity hacks? Have you read the top 20 books on effectiveness, and yet your workdays and email inbox still causing anxiety, burnout, and even depression? Ready to learn the latest in brain-based modalities, techniques, and technologies to optimize your success and well-being? Welcome to the Focus to Evolve podcast, where we'll illuminate your path to spacious productivity and balanced thriving. Each week, we dive into deeply insightful and immediately impactful methods to help you become highly effective while promoting health, profitability, and well-being. Say goodbye to the trance of busyness and hello to your highest potential. It's time to discover a new way of accelerating your mission, growth, and purpose. Join us on the Focus to Evolve podcast and get ready to live your most joyful, productive, and fulfilling life.